So welcome this evening to our SE Spotlight series, and this evening we're delighted to welcome Jessica Bonifant from Greywood Arts Centre in the beautiful Killa in East Cork. And Jessica is going to treat you over the next hour or so to a whistle stop tour of her art centre and different elements of the work that they do there. So Jessica, thank you for joining us. And I'm going to put you on speaker view so that people can see you. And hello, welcome.
Hi, Brita. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. There's a few of you who've been to Greywood, but for the rest, it'll be brand new. And honestly, we're always changing things and expanding here, so there'll probably be surprises for everyone. So at Greywood, we have kind of an unshakable belief that everyone is creative. Um, would you all call yourselves creative? Ooh,
I hope
lots
so.
of yeses. Eamon's smiling uncomfortably. I'd like to ask you to think back and see if you can remember the first time your first your first memory of being creative. There we go. So think back. What's the first time you remember being creative?
So for me, it was, I actually always remember it was it's school. So whenever I'd be asked to do something like write an essay on a certain topic or in art, draw, now I'm not artistic, there you go. And actually earlier on today, Jessica, I actually said I'm not creative, but one thing I've always done when I look back. So for example, if I had a topic for an essay, I would do my best to write that essay so it would be to topic, but it would be different to the way everyone else would do it. So everything that I do, I have to be different. So I have to be quite creative in order to find the difference.
Excellent. Finding and pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
Um, I'd also like to add a second part to that question, which is, was there someone there to witness you or to appreciate your first moment of creativity? And feel free to jump in if you want to share that memory. So I'd love to hear.
Well, this is probably not what you're looking for, but trained as an engineer, brought up as an engineer. I'd say the first time I ever thought I was creative, I was probably 40. And it came about only because of what you just asked. So I said something, and someone actually said to me, "That's a very unusual way of looking at a problem." And they actually said to me, "You don't look at problems the normal way." And that was actually the first time it ever struck me that I was anyway creative. It was that late.
Wow. That's possibly, now I haven't asked that many people this question, but I do a 6 week creativity course and we do kind of look at this and most people I've found tend to have that memory like anywhere kind of 4 to 8. um, so, but a big part of it can be who's there to notice, which I just find that so telling. Would anybody else be happy to share?
Yeah, I guess for me, I don't ever consciously try to be creative. I just do what I do. And I guess the best example would be like when I used to write essays at school. The teacher would quite often say, "A very good answer, but not the question we asked." So I just go off on my little tangents and write away what I think is, there. And I don't know, it's not consciously or subconsciously done. It just happens.
Mm. Yeah. Derville, did you want to say something? Were you?
I was just going to say I can beat Eamon on the 40. It's only in the last few years that I actually realized I am creative and very creative. But I just never realized that's what it was because it's not, art or painting or anything like that. So I didn't recognize it for what it was. But I have some artist friends, and for the past several years, one of them has been saying to me, but you're really creative, and I'm like, well, kind of, I suppose. And then it just dawned on me that I am. That's what I am actually, is creative. I create stuff all the time, but it's just not typically art or whatever. So yeah, Evelyn is saying she relates to that. It's because we put things in a box.
Mhm.
I just, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I very, very strongly believe that there's a difference between being creative and artistic. And part of being artistic is learning a specific skill or technique. Some people naturally have an eye. Some people can be artistic without being particularly creative either. You can be so technical without having your own sort of input into it. And I think because creativity is so much broader, that's why I sometimes hesitate to say Greywood is an arts center. When we say it's an arts center, I usually do that to give people a clearer idea of what we do, because that does tick a box. It fits into a box. But in our day to day and in our programming, we are definitely looking at it from a broader perspective. Like one of the things that we did was run a forest school. It was artist led, but it's not, it's not fine art at all. I'm going to share my screen with you. I have a PowerPoint, which is not my strong point. Although I do like making the templates in Canva. So I found this what is creativity poster on a website called Copyblogger, and I just love that they've asked so many people and gotten so many different answers, and everything from one part inspiration, one part motivation, to taking what's in front of you and everybody else, but making something new out of it. Copying smarter, building universes out of nothing. And then kind of my favorite here is this might not work. I think there is something in kind of risk taking that dovetails with creativity so well. So when I do say we are an art center, it's because we do work with artists. We work with artists and we work with the community. And for us, community starts local as a community of place, which is the village of Killa in East Cork. And I think of it sort of in circles. So we have our village, then we have sort of between Middleton and Youghal, which are the two bigger towns that bookend us, to maybe a bit further, kind of Cork City to Dungarvan would be sort of our biggest catchment area. But we've started very much in the village, and we're a rural village, but on a main thoroughfare between Cork City and Waterford. But one of the things that's important to us is having high level cultural experiences available in a rural area. I think there's a lot of people that say the arts aren't for me. It's a thing over there, but it's not for me. And I think that's because a lot of it, one of the many reasons, is because a lot of arts and culture can be very urban centric. And I think Ireland is actually a great place where there's a lot happening rurally. But that's where we fit into the cultural landscape, I think. And when we look at what we're really all about, it's about the creative process, generally process over product, learning and growing and making meaningful connections. And I think that sort of leads to finding a sense of belonging. So we do that through arts education, which up until this point has been primarily workshops. We'd like to have ongoing classes, but we haven't got the space for that yet. Artist residencies is where we started, and we've had artists from all over the world come and stay, and people stay with us anywhere from a weekend to 3 months. With COVID, we had our first 6 month long residency, so that was quite a different experience than usual. But it was great. It worked in the time that we had. But we find in a month to 3 month, people can really start to get embedded in the community. And when we talk about connecting artists in the community, it can be on a very formal level, where an artist has a project and needs to work with the community to make it happen. So we find that link, we get the community groups and different people involved. It can be people in the community want to learn something and we find the right artist to help them achieve that. But it can also be really informal. And in a normal year, that's you know, spending time in the pub, walking in Glenbower Wood, and just having a chat with people who you meet. Often residencies and retreats are very isolated, and we're a bit opposite to that, I guess. Uh, we do a lot of community programming. We work with, say, the Scouts or the primary school or the active retired group. And we'd bring in an artist and work together on all different kinds of projects. That's not very specific, but then we would normally be able to have events like readings and screenings. And the last thing that we got to do was an outdoor exhibition for Culture Night. And I see Martha Cashman is signed on. She's one of the artists that was part of that. And this past weekend, the first Sunday in May, is Killa Village's historical festival day. So we took over the May Sunday Festival a few years ago. It's been running since the 1830s, so that's nearly 200 years. And we really heard how much people living here missed it. In the 60s and the 70s, it really spilled into the village. It was on the main street all the way through the 90s. There's great like footage from the 90s of lorries on the street with bands playing on the back of them, and there's fancy dress parades. But the main street's also the N25, which is the main road from Cork to Waterford. That's just not going to happen in the year 2021. Aside from the fact you could never ensure that, it would just be completely unsafe and really inconvenient. The other thing Killa is known for is the massive roadworks that happened here. So anything that blocks that main road would make you very unpopular. So we said, okay, this festival started in Glenbower Wood when Glenbower was a private estate. They did all of these renovations and they opened it to the village the first Sunday in May. And they opened it for music and dancing. We said, okay, that's the heart of this. Let's go back into the woods. Let's look at the history, the ecology, and the creativity of our locality. Last year we had to cancel, but this year we came back really strong with an art trail in the wood, and we had 10 different installations throughout the woods. And actually, I have a little video I can show you all later. Let's see, do I have another slide here? Yeah, so some of the things that we think come out of our programming, why it's important, is learning, but empathy, seeing new perspectives, hearing different stories, having dialogue is so important for building empathy. And as much as we believe everyone is creative, we really believe that everyone has a story. Self-expression, I think we all know, whether it's artistic self-expression or it's through cooking or decorating your home or picking out your clothes, it's really important to feeling whole and feeling healthy and like you have a voice and your voice matters. Definitely there are transferable skills that are generated, like confidence and communication, problem solving. One of the artists that was working with us on the art trail was saying he really believes that being an artist is being a problem solver. And if you're not good at solving problems, then you're probably not a very good artist. And I'd never really heard anyone put it like that. So it was kind of some food for thought. And like what keeps me going is definitely the meaningful connections that we make. We make lots of meaningful connections with the artists and with the people in our community that we meet. But what's really joyful is seeing people connect with each other. We've been running this creativity course I mentioned online, and it's really been beautiful to see a community form with the women that have been participating in it. And you can see that there's a desire to keep connecting. And whether it's talking about something creative or not, that connection has been really nourishing for people, especially when COVID has us all so separate. So that's a lot of talking on my part. I hope nobody minds my American accent. I've been told once that I should do a podcast, so whoever that person was would probably enjoy this. I feel like I'm talking way too much, but tired of the sound of my own voice. If I'm going too fast, if you have questions, please just shout them out. You don't have to hold them to the end. But would you guys like to see a bit of a tour of Greywood? Yeah.
Lovely, Jessica.
All right.
When did you realize you were creative?
I think fairly young, Eamon. My mom had wanted to be an artist, and she never pursued it. So as soon as I was interested in dance, she really made it possible for me. And I'm trying to remember, I know one memory that I have is being out in my driveway in the sun, just dancing and just dancing for no one and not caring if anybody saw me. So that's one of my early memories of being creative. Okay, can you see my video? I'll start it up here. So this is Greywood. That's our little hand-lettered sign. We had a bigger one, but the wind blew it down. We are in a 3-story Georgian building. There's a date stone up at the top there that says 1767. Although there's a room at the back that might even be older. We got a notice board, and this is our little free library. We started the free library with the Scouts a couple of years ago, and we thought, I'll probably pause a few times just so that I stay with the video. The free library we thought was going to be a novelty, and it's actually become something that people use on a daily basis. And it was falling apart. We had to take it down for a bit, and people were going, where did it go? Is it COVID? Is it not COVID safe? We want our books. And so we put it back, and it's just something no one's gotten tired of, that it's really used. And that surprised me in the most delightful way. So coming into Greywood, you end up in our beautiful hallway, and the tiles are probably one of the only original things left in the house, because the IRA set it on fire in 1920 when it was an RIC barrack. So when you come in, you can go into the library. We have a collection of books. You can see in the background there around trees. We used to have a book club called the Arboreal Book Club, and it was started by an artist who is working in the forest here. This is also a lovely postcard from the 1930s. That was a photograph, and another artist that stayed here overpainted it, and now we've kind of gotten them printed up. So we have books about trees, we have books about creative process, and we have books by Irish women authors. Those are our main things, but there's lots of other bits and bobs in the library as well. Now, it's a little bit cramped in here at the moment because we've been using the space to package up our tote bags and notebooks, which are rewards for a fundraiser that we did. And I think actually, Donna, you were asking me about the tote bags by email, and I've been so busy I never got back to you, so my apologies. But we are going to also have more of them for sale. If anybody would like one, you can always get in touch. They're really lovely quality. That's our logo tote, and then we have our goat on a tote. And we were so thrilled because we set a really high goal for our fundraiser, 15,000 in crowdfunding, and we got there. And so that was really amazing to have more than 200 people supporting our project. The staircase going up, so after the house was an RIC barrack, it was burnt by the IRA, it became a sawmill. And when it was a sawmill, a farmer came in with some timber that he got from a ship that sunk off Youghal. And he came into the sawmill and said, would you make me fence posts? And the story goes that the lads here said, oh no, that timber will never do for fence posts, but leave it with us and we'll trade you. And I think they got what might be teak, we're not 100% sure, gorgeous timber, and made this beautiful staircase, probably sometime in the 1930s or 40s. And the house has been kind of added on to ad hoc. So you get up to the top of the stairs here and it goes in all different directions. But this little niche, we were told, is where they would have a candle lighting all the time and everyone could light their little sconces off of it. We tried to have artwork from artists who've stayed as much as possible. This would be one of the bedrooms. This is today I was doing this, so there I am. Hello. This is in the kind of Georgian part of the house, and when we took on the house, it was full of furniture, like that piece with the mirror. So we've upcycled and reused as much as we possibly can. There's Maya, our dog, inside dog anyway. She's well known to anybody who did the incubator here. This is the writer's room. So writers or anybody doing kind of desk-based work might stay here. There's a great comfy chair with a lamp and a little table for your tea so you can tuck in and read. And one of the best things about this room is a beautiful view. That's a cherry tree that's kind of dropped its blossoms already, but you get the river. We're right alongside the Desor, which means twice wedded, and the lovely little gate. So you get heron that hangs out there. This time of year we've been seeing a pair of mallard ducks, and in the evening there's sometimes bats swooping. We have a little kitchenette, self-catering for the artists that stay with us, and we've discovered it's really important to have a weekly communal meal, that a lot of the connecting happens there. So we're going to be expanding into a bigger kitchen with a bigger dining area. This is another hallway spot, which is all furniture that we found in the house, and even the roll of wallpaper was there. And then this is that's the library on a good day. Let's see if we can get there. We did a dance and photography performance. These are girls from the local primary school, and they were absolute stars. They got to be part of devising the performance that was around ghost stories, and then the photographer set up all of these tableaux that were inspired by their writing. So it was really empowering for the young women that took part in it. This is the visual arts studio, and it's sort of a east-southeast facing direction, so you get gorgeous morning light. It's a good size as well, with high ceilings. And this is our movement studio, so we'd get performers, theater, dance, really high ceilings. We've left it pretty raw because we thought it was just beautiful as it is. I think this room is a big part of why I fell in love with the house when we saw it 6 years ago. And I think we're going to jump all the way back down to the first floor. This is an heirloom of the family that built the house, and that's the little town I'm from in Connecticut. It's just kind of mix of artifacts like my grandfather's antlers from hunting and things that we found in the house. And I mentioned before, my mum wanted to be a painter. She did those when she was 12, and I just find that they're a reminder of home for me because they were in our dining room when I was growing up. But also this idea that she wanted to do something and didn't take the leap to do it, and that hopefully what we're doing is really encouraging people to take that leap and follow whatever passionate thing drives them. So that would have been our way outside to the back. We have a brand new chicken coop. Before lockdown, out here was pretty much nothing going on. It's an old walled garden. It's about an acre. We've made a vegetable patch, and the most recent thing we've done is, actually this was so overgrown, we had no idea that shed was there in the back, on the back wall. It had no roof or anything. So we've roofed that, and we've built a greenhouse in front of it with windows that came out of a part of the house that's going to be knocked in the next phase. And here it's so hard to see, but there's lots and lots of little fruit trees, apples and pears and things all towards the back wall. A little meditation space that an artist made. And swinging around, you see the back of the coach house building, which I'll tell you more about in a moment. But one of the best things about coming here is all of our animals. And we actually just got bees, and my mentor stopped by today, so I thought, we'll get a little video and throw that in as well, because it's so fascinating to me to see the bees. There's Elvis, he's kind of outside dog. There's Willow, she's the goat on the tote. They're just really joyful. Daisy's far more dignified than Willow. She's older and chill, and some of the hens. And here's the coach house. So this is our next big project, and it's really a big, big project indeed. This is what we've been fundraising for, and it is going to be on the top floor a flexible event and exhibition space, and on the ground floor, these two doors on the left, the arched one and the kind of reddish one, are going to be studios for local artists so that we can start to support the many artists that are already living in East Cork. There'll be a lobby and there'll be dedicated classroom space, which I'm so excited about because it's really something everyone is asking for here. Do you have classes? Do you have ongoing classes? We have, groups from the active retired that want to do more art. We have families that want their kids to have after school classes. And we have adults that are looking for things to do in the evenings and the weekends. So it's a big job, but there's nothing too major. The roof is probably the biggest thing, and all of the sort of historical preservation. And then since the incubator, this is the biggest thing we've added, which is the office, and it is a lifesaver. We knew once we were starting the coach house that we were going to need an office, and hopefully I won't always be the only employee of Greywood. So we're setting things up so that we have space to grow our capacity in terms of staff and in terms of what we can offer. So that's us. Thanks, Katie. Yep, Katie is our leader funding liaison, and we have been through a lot together in the last couple of years, I would say. She has guided us so thoughtfully and supportively through a very bureaucratic process. We did just find out that probably building materials are going up, so we know there's another hurdle coming up on that horizon, but I am going to think about that next week. So I thought a nice thing to do would be one of the exercises from some of the creativity courses that I've been running. So you're going to need paper and something to write with. It can be a pencil, a pen, markers, crayons, whatever's handy. It doesn't matter. Thanks, Katie. Yeah, we will get there. We will get there. So what I'd like to do is make a map. So looking at your piece of paper and thinking of it as a map. The first thing that I'd like you to do is draw a river, and your river is going to end in the sea. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just so that you know it's a river and you know it's ending in the sea. And you're going to also draw somewhere on your map a lake. Your lake can be any shape, any size. And then either you can make notes for yourself, or you can draw pictures, whatever representational style that you choose. I'll wait for Eamon. Is everybody? I just kind of went on there. So Eamon, you're drawing a river that ends in the sea, and somewhere on your map you're drawing a lake. And so for your river, what I'd like you to think about is, what does it feel like when you're in flow? What does flow mean to you? Like, to me, it's that state where you're fully immersed in something and you lose your sense of time. You're just so kind of focused and taken with something that you can keep going with it. You might have a different definition, and that's fine. So make a few notes in your river about what flow feels like for you. And then in your C, you're going to write down something you'd like to, or it can be more than one thing, some things that you'd like to learn or that you'd like to try doing. And it can be as mundane as I'd like to try a new recipe for kale because I hate kale and I just think it's good for me and I want to try a new thing. Or it could be like, I want to climb Mount Everest for most of us who haven't done that, or kind of anything big or small. So take a moment and in your C, those things that you'd like to learn or try. Maybe it's a language you'd like to learn, or so in your lake, I'm calling the lake your pool of ideas. So in your pool of ideas, to put something that you would like to explore further, or if you're already exploring something. This one is maybe a little phrased in a way that's kind of geared towards the artistic, like artists say, oh, I'm working on this thing right now, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a personal development goal, or it could be something you want, just anything you'd like to get really deeper into, or ideas that are floating around in the back of your head, or um, like questions that you're asking yourself, I guess. So your pool of ideas is the place to put those. The next thing to add is a meadow or a fertile field. And in that area that you mark out as a meadow, the things that nourish you. What is it that you need to feel good and healthy and happy? For people who've been stuck in busy households, it could be some time alone. For people who've been isolated, it could be time with friends. It could be a bath. It could be decadent food. It could be really healthy food. So there's absolutely no kind of right or wrong in your answers. It's very personal. And I won't ask anybody to share anything from this. So if you've got your fertile field of things that nourish you, you can add somewhere on your map a forest and somewhere some mountains. And in your forest, you're going to make note of anything that you're questioning right now, anything that you don't understand. And it can be personal or it can be in the world at large. Anything from why do I find it so hard to get up in the morning, to how could what's happening in India with the coronavirus be happening? Anything that's on your mind right now. And in your mountains, you're going to put anything that's kind of challenging or you're struggling with. It could be, if you have a creative project, it could be something specific to that, or it could be very general to your life. So the mountains are anything that's kind of challenging. And the next thing that we'll do is map a journey through your, or map a route through your, words are hard sometimes. Add a route on your map. So,
Like when it's quiet, I'll come in. Talk to you when thanks, Nick.
what was that, Martha?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. um, so your route should have a crossroads, a dead end, and a bridge.
So what were those? There was three things there, wasn't there? So
There were, yeah. So a crossroads, a dead end, and a bridge. Sorry, I'm usually take much more time with this, and I put everything into the chat, and so just do your best. And I can actually send on. I have sort of an infographic of the process that we could send to everyone after if you're interested. Um, so for your crossroad, for there, think of a time that you had to make an important decision. For your dead end, think of something you tried that didn't work out or didn't turn out the way you hoped it would. And the second part to that, if there was any learning in that experience. And if you haven't placed your bridge yet, you might think about what elements you're connecting in the map, or you can make notes to yourself about anything that any connections you've made while you've been drawing your map and thinking, or connections that you um, are trying to make, or sometimes there's something not meeting, and what is that, or did you find a connection as you were going through the process? And while I won't ask anybody to share details, I will ask, did anybody have any surprises along the way, or anything that came up as you were thinking visually here that you want to share. Terrible.
Just realized there at the end that one of the decisions I made, and it's a long time ago, it's in 2008, was to make a mindfulness and relaxation album. I had never done anything like it, but I just knew I needed to do it. I knew I wanted to do it. I didn't know how to do it, and none of that mattered. I didn't know whether it would sell. I knew nothing about anything, and I just did it. And I just realized now what I've been doing for the last couple of years, more than a couple of years, is looking into everything too much and trying to do things the right way in terms of business and stuff like that. And just the past while I've been thinking, it's not the way I want to do things, you know. Just want to do them for the sake of doing them because I know they're the right thing to do.
Yeah, and your own history is kind of saying you've done it this way before and
Yeah.
it worked because you followed intuition maybe, or yeah, that's so interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd say with me, whether I'm in my meadow or up my mountain or having a paddle in the lake, it's everything's really simple on its own, but when you put them together, that's what makes them magical.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I find thinking visually is maybe like this isn't really, I'm a list maker, so I find this kind of helps me connect things in different ways maybe than I might intuitively. I think, yeah, there's something really interesting about what you said there about simple and complexity and how it all comes together. I was thinking about that earlier, even with creativity and like it's having a hard time, but there's just sometimes lots of ideas bouncing around in my head and I can't quite get them out, but it's what you're saying is really resonating with me. I'll just leave it at that.
Good.
I had a strange thought that it's actually it's the journey rather than and I don't mean to the destination, but though I drew a map, it was more the wandering around between the different bits that was actually kind of life rather than the destination, if that makes any bloody sense.
Definitely. Yeah. So I know we're coming close to 8 o'clock, so I might say, is there any other kind of last thought on that for anyone? Or if not, that's fine. I have a little journey to take you on for about a minute. Maybe it's a minute and a half. And we've made a trail in Glenbower Wood of art because this was our way of safely celebrating May Sunday. And I'll just play it. It's a minute and a half and has some cheesy stock music on it. But we can go on a little artistic journey. worked with 9 different artists, a collective of local women who did this piece here, the paper mache. And we also had some help from the 6th class at our local primary school. And there was no theme, just kind of let everything develop organically from people's responses to place. Oh, that's Martha's piece, which, Martha, I don't have video of yours yet, so I need to add that in, but there's 8 beautiful willow wreaths adorned with bluebells. There's also a video installation here at Greywood. It's kind of what's happening inside. It's viewed through peepholes in the window. And we had a pop-up performance, the rubbish performance, which was the theme, not the quality. So that will all be up in Glenbower until Sunday the 9th, if anyone is in Cork or 20 kilometers into West Waterford. But I just thought it might be nice to share that because I know a lot of you are much further afield, and give you a really full picture of what's going on down here in Killa. So thanks very much.
Jessica, thank you. I think we're all so chilled after that. That was absolutely fabulous. Rather than apologizing for your accent, your voice and your presentation was so relaxing and gorgeous. And thank you very, very, very much. It was delightful to have you on board this evening. Can I open it up to you guys if anything you'd like to ask Jessica or anything you'd like to say, or feel free to join in?
Well, I've just put it in the chat box. It just looks like a totally amazing, magical space, doesn't it, altogether? I think it's the sort of place that every community could do with having. They're envious of you now, down here in West. Is there any chance you could pick it all up and move down to West Cork with it?
No, but you can come visit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to. Really would. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we try to have a warm welcome. So if anyone is ever passing and it's not a time that we have something on, you're very welcome to drop us a line, and always happy to give a in-person tour when it's safe to do so.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks.
I'm in my car.
And you're still here. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm in Killa. But yeah, thanks a million, Jess. And just to say to everybody, yeah, we're thrilled to have Jessica, her accent and all, and she's done Trojan work. And look, we've needed this space for a very long time. And I think Jessica has reached out to just about everybody, from the kids to the conceptual artists to the writers. So it's a very inclusive space. I think that has to be the one thing to say. And you know, to see the animals and everything in there, it's fantastic. And it's really nice for the people who have gone through that house before, that Jessica always kind of alludes to the fact that, yes, you know, she's come in on this amazing place that was, but she's making it an amazing place for us and for the future. So yeah, thanks for tonight, Jess. It was fantastic and a lovely journey with the notebook, unexpected. So that was really nice. Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
That really means a lot.
Thank
And
you.
actually, for anyone that's here that has, because I know there's a few of you that have social enterprises at different stages as well. And I think Jessica is a really good example of sticking to your passion, staying with your dream, and reaching out as that lady before, sorry, Martha said there before, like reaching out to the community, to the people that you work with, but also reaching out for the support that you need to get where you want to get to. And I think, Jessica, like, it is beautiful and it's magical, but you've come up against a lot of hurdles and you've had to overcome a lot in your journey to get to where you are. And already building supplies have gone up, so that you already know there's more hurdles coming at you up the road. And I think it's really important to include that tonight, just to let you all know that it is magical and beautiful, but there's work behind that in order to create a space that has such magic and beauty. And it's one of the things I love about Jessica is that she's so humble, but she's also a really good example of stay with your dream and stay with your passion, the possibilities that are there, even if it's not always an easy journey. And I commend you. I've always commended you for that, Jessica. It's been one of the biggest pleasures of knowing you. No, it really has. You're a really, really good example to anyone in this space that sets out to do something like you've done.
Oh, thanks.
So hang in there, guys.
Yeah, it really is cyclical. Like, you know, it goes up and then it gets hard and it gets easy. You know, you become elated and things are going well, and then it gets hard again. And I think knowing, like, because I connected with Pauline and Eamon at a time where I couldn't figure out why everything was so overwhelming, and you really framed it for me that it was because we'd grown so organically, so fast, and it was all really positive, but it was just going way faster than we could manage. And now it's like it can sort of stop and measure. Like, I feel like sometimes that's maybe happening again a bit, and it's like, okay, now there are people and organizations that you know you can reach out to. Like, I know I have CCAD, I know I have Social Impact Ireland, I know I have my peers in our group, and it just makes such a difference, knowing, like, it's one thing to know a resource is there, but when it has a face and a name and a hand reaching out to you, it just makes all the difference.
I think as well, though, Jessica, you have a willingness to share without actually, it never feels you're trying to offload when you share, and that's a brilliant characteristic. It doesn't feel like you're ever trying to have a moan or anything. You're actually, when you're sharing, it almost feels like you're trying to help the other person, right? And so that sense of the cyclical, even though it is intense, you never convey that when you're talking to someone else, which is a huge compliment, actually, because it does belie exactly how cyclical and how tough it is. But it just, so it's a fair credit for what you've done, actually, and will do.
And it is such a beautiful space, the energy in it. Like when we had the incubator, actually, that was our last, wasn't it? It was our last physical get together before COVID was actually there. Oh my God, that actually makes me really emotional.
Oh.
What a beautiful, that's where it was, wasn't it? It was down like in the library and having coffee and eating lovely cake that Tim brought, and it was that's where it was. Yeah,
It's a great place to have a get together of one of the virtual ones.
Oh yes, bring it on.
Bring
Yeah,
it.
Jessica's eyes just popped there. She was like, what?
No, I think it sounds
That mean
great.
I'll have to do the hoovering. Oh no.
Yeah, no, it'd be great to be doing things. We did get a little funding for a marquee so that we can have kind of an outdoor classroom this summer. So that should help keep things going. And I feel like we've been afraid to plan for the summer big time, like just kind of like, okay, we'll see what we can do. And now that we know outdoor events of 15 or less can happen, it's getting exciting because now we can plan, and I want to jump into doing all of that and like completely skip over the like fundraising and renovation stuff, and you know, just put that in the back of my mind. But I know I can't do that. But yeah, June 2nd we can start to welcome artists again. So I have some people who I think are on maybe their third time rescheduling, and you know, the communication can wear you down a bit, but then you actually like get them here, and it's so worth it.
Yeah.
And Jessica, are you delivering online? You mentioned your 6-week creativity course. Is that running at the moment, or what are your plans online for the next few months?
We've just finished a writing course taught by E.R. Murray, and we've finished the last creativity course maybe a month ago, and actually that's where the collective in the art trail came out of. It was opened up to any of the 4 sessions of that we've run. So the decision now is, we'll definitely do it again, but do I do it in person, outdoors here, or do I do an online one? And I'm thinking I might hold off on the online until the autumn when the days are starting to get shorter and people are happy to be in front of their computers again. I think we might try and get it going here. The flip side is, though, with the virtual space, we have a much broader reach and a kind of a more diverse potential community. But I think it would be nice to do it here for 6 weeks this summer.
Yeah.
Would there be potential to do something with schools, Jessica? Do you know the way a lot of schools probably won't be able to go on school tours this year? Is primary school too young? I was just here. You're working with Scouts and Girl Guides.
Yeah,
Is something worth considering?
Definitely. Yeah. One of the ways we've been working with the TYs is in the woods, art in the woods, so it's outdoors, and that was a good thing in the autumn. I think they've kind of come back too close to the end of the school year to do more, but I think next year that might stay regardless of their situation. But yeah, online with the schools is possible. Hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, just our primary school talking about it this week, just conscious that the kids can't go anywhere, but to do something virtual to just open their minds, to give them something new to consider.
Yeah, that would be great.
My youngest, when he was doing homeschooling, his teacher had a goat. And honest to God, like the highlight of all of the homeschooling and all the effort and everything everybody went through to educate this child, the only thing he got excited about and remembers is Munter Owen's goat. And still talks about Munter Owen's goat. So I think if you do anything virtual for primary school, you just need to bring your goat. What's her name again?
Willow.
You just need Willow to come on the screen and it will be deemed a success.
I would say Willow, the goat, the goat, the dog, and the chicken. I've taken pictures of them there. I'd say children would love that, particularly the junior years. Yeah,
love it. They would.
regular
with names, Jessica.
Yeah.
We have done with like the junior infants when they do the homes, like they do houses and homes as part of the curriculum. So we've done, when they could do trips, we've done something here, but I think that could actually still be a good fit into the curriculum.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even virtually. Yeah.
They love it. They love the space of it. Beautiful, Jessica. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed that. Really love that exercise. It's outside my comfort zone, as in I don't do a lot in that space. So I actually really enjoyed it.
I must add to that, actually, I've always grappled with, I always thought I was artistic, but not creative. And I've actually realized this evening through that exercise that it's the other way around, that I'm creative, but I'm not necessarily artistic.
Yeah, actually Ronan helped me with that in the comments, in the chat box. That's exactly what I realized when Ronan was talking. I always looked at creativity as being artistic, always.
Yeah.
Never ever looked at it the other way around. Yeah.
That was just my own. First of all, Jessica, just thanks very much for that. That was, I don't have a great face for showing gratitude or interest, but I was really interested in that. What Pauline and I were discussing, maybe people weren't all reading the comments, but I also have two monitors. That's why I'm looking away from you, because I'm looking at you, not the camera. The idea of creativity for me, and I am, make records and put on shows and stuff, but for me, creativity is a function of who you are. And as I was saying to Pauline in the chat, it's like moving our bodies, be it like exercise or sport, like it's the same level as Usain Bolt, except just not to the same we don't achieve what he does, but it's the same thing. And that's the same with creativity. And the funny thing is, I was listening to, I'm just after finishing a postgrad in creative and cultural entrepreneurship, which hits loads of words, and that's what's brought me to the SEI and Greywood's we've a lot of mutual friends and stuff. But two phrases that came to mind today while listening to stuff that I ended up writing down here before we even had this workshop, which is that all solutions are creative and all innovation is speculation. And for some reason, that's been on my head. Anyway, it was incredible to be able to talk about creativity from a different angle in the same day. And I wish we'd another hour and more tea to continue.
Yeah. I agree, Ronan. I'd love to be sitting having a cup of coffee now and keep the conversation going. Yeah. Sorry,
And Jessica, is it this Sunday is the last day for the Glenbower Woods?
It is, yeah. So that's through Sunday. Yeah.
And it's on Sunday, or it's been...
Yeah, we probably won't take things down till maybe 5 or 6 in the evening. So most of the day it'll be up, and then things will be coming down slowly over the next couple of days after. So, yeah.
I have a feeling you might be seeing Dara's beautiful face on Sunday.
Might be nice though. No, I love things like that, you know, and woods, and yeah, it just looked very nice. It might be a nice thing to do on Sunday. I won't be able to do Saturday, but it might be a nice thing to do on Sunday before it's taken down, because it looked lovely. I love that.
Definitely do if you can. Like, the woods are spectacular anyway. Like, they don't need art to make them beautiful at all. But what happened this past Sunday, we also had kind of painters and photographers, and there was a real buzz, but everyone was still socially distant and responsible, which was such a relief. But the main feedback I was getting was, it's amazing to see everyone in such a good mood. Like, everyone is smiling, everyone's in such a good mood, and we were like, okay, that was the goal. We've success. Like, whether you want to evaluate art and its merits, like, everyone that walked that trail was smiling. People were seeing each other, maybe they haven't seen each other in a while. Everyone was happy, and that was like why it was a success in my mind. So yeah.
My favorite was the shirt inside in the bubble. I don't know whether it was a shirt inside.
Oh, it's a cloak, almost like a red cloak, kind of little Red Riding Hood image almost. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fab.
So unfortunately, guys, I need to break up this party. Thank you all for coming along. And again, Jessica, it was a pleasure. And thank you so much for all the work that you put in recording your virtual tour, and you know, all the I just loved that exercise as well. I got a lot from that exercise actually. So it was fabulous to see you, and thank you so much. And thank you all, guys. We've one more Essay Spotlight event the first Thursday next month, and then we'll take a little break for July and August, and we'll be back again in September. So hopefully see you next month. And Jessica, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for being so open and willing to dive in there.